This is a video of exploration that leads to discovery. It starts with two Chrome extensions. The first one, Amazon Search Suggestion Expander, and also DS Amazon Quick View. Then it moves on to the Amazon search bar and typing in a keyword, coloring book. Of course, we see our primary Amazon suggestions. Before keyword suggestions, additional suggestions, these are your typical keywords that are found when searching for coloring books. But what if we take a different approach? A coloring book. Coloring book for girls, coloring book for boys, and we move on and we do B coloring book. Cardi B coloring book, Bun B coloring book, Make Your Life coloring book. C coloring books. D, 3D coloring book, D&D coloring book. As you can see, we're simply going through the alphabet. Q, inspirational coloring book for adults. R, R-rated coloring book. Trick or treat coloring book. R and B coloring book. Trick or treat coloring book takes us to 1 of 16 of 94 results. And of course, these are trick or treat coloring books. And of course, these fall under Halloween. And when I'm making this video, it's Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. So you can only imagine the BSRs of these books are getting lower as we're getting closer to the holiday. The idea again here is we are in explore mode. We are exploring on our way to something. We're looking for something. We're looking for a discovery. I don't know what that discovery is. I can't tell you what the discovery is that you will find. But as you're scrolling, you're going to see sponsored books, cat butt coloring book. Then, of course, you're going to see Halloween adult coloring book. Of course, remember the keyword that we searched for with our little trick at the beginning just by using the alphabet at this point is trick or treat coloring book. So, of course, a sponsored ad for our Halloween adult coloring book makes sense. But does cat butt coloring book make sense? It does if they are just bidding all the time on the keyword coloring book and they are outbidding everyone, then they are going to win this position in a sponsored ad. Take note of these sponsored ads. Take note of the books. Take note of the BSRs. Because remember, at this point, we are just in exploration mode. Come back to our coloring book, and at this point, you can dive a little deeper inside of the R. For example, you could add another letter. RA brings up She-Ra, the Princess of Power coloring book. Some of this stuff may be actual books that are trademarked, so be careful with that. But the idea here is to just go through the alphabet. And of course, we took a look at trick or treat coloring book. Now let's take a look at R and B coloring book. 1 of 16 of over 1,000 results for R and B coloring book. Advanced coloring books, hip hop, R&B artists, music icons, R&B, and rap coloring book. As we scroll, again, we'll see a sponsored book, Happy Halloween coloring book. At this point, again, we're seeing sponsored ads because of the date and the fact that it's close to Halloween. So people are paying a lot to push their Halloween books because no matter what people are searching for, if they're searching for the word coloring book and they see this book, it's going to be a popular book at this time of year. Go back up, we're at R&B. That leads me to think about, what about rock coloring book, rock coloring book, rock coloring book for adults, rock coloring book for kids, rock coloring book. 1 of 16 of over 1,000 results for rock coloring book. Check out the first result, rock and roll coloring book. Back to the search bar, rock and roll coloring book. 1 of 16 of 175 results for rock and roll coloring book. Take a look at these BSRs. But before we do that, did you mean rock and roll coloring book? 1 of 16 of 57 results for rock and roll coloring book means that it is a keyword. It is something that people type in. It is something that Amazon has indexed. They do have results for rock and roll coloring book as it's written or typed here. Again, we're scrolling through here, Rock and Roll Coloring Book, the Rock and Roll Coloring Book, collect volumes 1 and 2. The Rock and Roll Comics Coloring Book, keep scrolling, Rock and Roll Coloring Book. This here is something that we should definitely explore even further now that we have discovered it. But as we scroll, we have a central theme here inside the idea of rock and roll coloring books. And we also need to make sure that we don't use anything that's trademarked as we scroll through here. But at this point, we're still exploring and we are discovering something that we did not know about. Also at this point, during this mode of discovery and exploration, we actually discover a bestseller, Easy Autumn Coloring Book. This was published August 2nd, 2021. Remember, this is September 14th, 2021. You can see the BSR of this book, 6,036. You can also see it has 4.5 stars and 21 ratings, and it sells for $7.99. Again, they are targeting with ads the term coloring book. So at any point, at any time you're doing a search for coloring book, you're going to be able to see these ads and you're going to understand what's hot right now. The idea here is during this phase of exploration and discovery is you discovered something. You discovered that ads are popular for this book. It is common sense, but it may not be something you thought of. So at this point, note this down and think about what you can do with this information next year, next season, next autumn, before Halloween, or during autumn for this type of coloring book. Again, this coloring book, 6,036 in books. Hover over to get the information. Again, it is independently published. August 2nd, 2021. It's 132 pages. It's black ink. So then we take that BSR to the BSR to sales calculator over at TCK Publishing. 6,036. That is 566 sales per month. Self-Publishing Titans, the same place we got our search expansion extension for Chrome. KDP Royalty Calculator Black Ink, 132 pages, sold on Amazon.com. Anticipated list price $7.99. Amazon royalty. I've highlighted it here, $2.36. Bring up a calculator, $2.36 times 566 books sold every month, $1,335.76. Go back to that page and take a look at this bestseller. During this exploration, we have discovered something here. Of course, understanding that the time of year that you are searching, you see this book, you see this being advertised, you see the BSR. Scroll down though and take a look at the other sponsored book, Rock Trivia Madness, 130,622 BSR. Of course, this is going to be something that's evergreen. It obviously will do better, most likely in Q4 and during holidays such as Christmas when people are buying presents. But the idea here is this is an evergreen book. Compare and contrast these two books and think about what they could mean to your business when you're creating books. Another quick note is to go to BookBolt Cloud. Simply drop down the category coloring book, type in the keyword autumn, look at the search results, and you can see a book here that was published September 22nd, 2020. But there's also one that's published here May 8th, 2018. You can see as far as ratings go, they're about the same. You can see as BSR, they're about the same, and they're about the same in price, just about $1 difference. Click here on the BSR price history. It'll bring up the graph. You can see the price here of this book always stays the same, but take note of the blue graph down here, October into November. The BSR is quite low, as well as notice when the BSR starts to drop. Over here from June into July, down through August, into September, leading into October. Compare that to the other book, and you can see the price stays the same, but you can see this graph tells the same story. My point here is during this stage, you are simply exploring to discover trends. You are exploring to discover niches. You are exploring to discover the bestsellers at the time of year you're doing the search, but also you are exploring to find books that are evergreen, and you're using a simple method of just using the alphabet to extend that search and find keywords that you possibly wouldn't think about simply by going through each letter one at a time. Of course, we got the R. What if we hit W? Of course, here, this turns up something completely different. Adult coloring book W, probably not a keyword. Cozy night in gift set with mug, coloring book, and more. 1 of 16 of 97 results. Cozy night in gift set with mug, coloring book, and more. I have no idea what you're going to find here, but the idea here is you are simply looking and you are exploring and you are discovering things that you most likely would never have thought of. Coloring through COVID, funny coloring book. Highlights hidden picture books, 16 coloring books. Of course, you can't do bulk books like that, but the idea here is you're doing research and you are going to discover along the way things that you most likely never would have thought of, things that may not even be on your mind, to include Rock Trivia Madness, because we started off looking for coloring books. That led us to easy autumn coloring books to do research around the time of year that we're in, paying attention to the BSR and the fact that we will be able to run ads and compete. You can see this book was created August 2nd, 2021. Look at its current BSR, look at the number of ratings. Also something that's completely and totally evergreen, not even in the coloring book niche, Rock Trivia Madness. So many opportunities, so many different ways to go, so many different types of books, real books for real people that you can create when you take the time to explore and discover and simply do research. And to do more research, go ahead, click on the video you see right now. I look forward to seeing that video, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.